In 1996, my next guest dropped his debut album, Soul on Ice, which not only deemed him as a classic, the album wasn't deemed as a classic, but it displayed the versatility of the West Coast artists and what West Coast had as the art form. He's set to release Soul on Ice 2. He's Ras Kass, and I want to welcome him to the library, Tim Einenkel.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. This is truly an honor.
My pleasure.
So you're from Carson, California.
Yeah. Asterix.
So what's interesting is that you talk to new artists today, you ask them what they're listening to, which most likely hip hop. But you grew up at a time where hip hop wasn't playing on the radio, rap wasn't predominantly what you heard all the time.
True.
And you listen to your music, and there's definitely other influences in there that are not right. So what were you listening to growing up?
I didn't. So my dad is like, if you listen to my music, I have tells, like I tell on myself, because I'm only kind of just philosophizing about my journey. So my father was a Marine and a police officer. He was not a musical person. And my mother is a Creole. So me and my sisters are first generation Californians. My mother's from Louisiana. My daddy's from Arkansas. My dad is one of like 9 brothers.
Damn, wow.
And he's kind of like, I don't think my dad's the oldest, but he's the namesake. So his father was John Austin, and his father's father was John Austin, and I'm John Austin. But he had 9, and he's somewhere towards the upper part, but still a middle kid. I don't know why he got the name. So he was just always very rigid in his journey. So he wasn't a musical person, wasn't interested. My mom is very Catholic. So my mom listened to more opera than anything. So we didn't have like a soulful family. I didn't come from music. My recollections of music are being in the car. My dad used to smoke like a Popeye pipe, like a cob pipe. And every once in a while, maybe my sisters would, because I have 3 older sisters, and they would say, play the radio. And then I'd hear like Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston, Luther Vandross or something like that. Something like, and so, with no disrespect, Michael Jackson, all that stuff. So I remember I liked like Michael Jackson, I liked Culture Club, Boy George, all that stuff. But it wasn't like a soundtrack to my story. I liked it from afar. And all the singing stuff, I appreciated it, especially the Mariah Careys and Whitney Houstons, because they hit these notes and these octaves that are amazing.
Right, yeah.
But the stories were just not stories I cared about. Like, it was always like, I love you and why did you hurt me and all that. Right. So music didn't resonate for me until maybe I was 13. And I just would, it was like white noise in the background of me growing up in the streets of LA. Like, that's where I remember hearing music that I kind of was like, oh, that's cool. It didn't resonate until it resonated. Like, I didn't get it till I got it, and then I went backwards. So my favorite group is still Duran Duran. That I have no reason why it spoke to me, but they're dope. Big Duran Duran fan. Right. Didn't even realize Save a Prayer was, about a dude picking up a dude outside of a club. One of the greatest songs ever written, vibe-wise. Like, that vibe. But yeah, I got into hip-hop retroactively. Like, I heard probably, when I heard it all. It was like, I probably heard, My Philosophy, and then like EPMD, You Got to Chill, and LL Cool J, like all at one time. I was like, this is dope. We probably said Fresh back then. I was like, fresh. That's fresh. And then I went crazy, and then I went backwards. And then I just started listening to all these things that I vaguely remembered hearing and wanting to understand what I was liking. Like, I've always been I've always been that kind of person. If I like something, then I go backwards and I try to figure out why. Why do I like it?
Right.
So I'll literally analyze every part of it. I'll play a song like 100 times to understand what I like about it. So yeah, but my fan deconstructs things. So I went backwards and deconstructed hip hop, and then through being a fan of hip hop, I learned about rock and roll and jazz because I didn't come from a musical family.
So then, when did you take the hip hop route? I mean, instead of for example, instead of the rock route or the.
I really did not take a route. The irony of my life is I'm definitely a hip hop kid. It changed my journey. It changed my life. It changed my perspective. But I didn't really take a route. Like I said in my last project, Intellectual Property, like I didn't really choose this life. It chose me. I'm sorry. I'm going to turn this ringer off.
No, it's okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it was off. Okay, I told you.
No, pre-recorded. It's perfect.
That was J57, so shameless plug, JMO Gang. We're shooting a video. He's from Long Island and Brooklyn, so you want to hear the irony of life? Two Italians and a Creole, dark-skinned Creole boy decided we were JMO Gang, which is really Jameson. But we bonded through Jameson, and that's our group. So we're shooting a video with DJ Premier and Slug tomorrow. Yeah. All right, done.
Okay. In Long Island or in...
No, we're shooting in Brooklyn.
Oh, nice.
At Sweet Science, a friend of ours, dope restaurant in Williamsburg.
That's dope. Actually, let's start. What, in this day and age, let's talk about videos. What is the importance of the video? I mean, well, first, when you started out, what was the importance of the video? But then in this day and age, what's the importance of the video?
I think, well, this is the crazier thing. Back then, the video was like the cherry on top. Now it's a given. Like people are audio and visual. Like they don't listen to songs unless it is attached to this thing, which is really sucky to me because they're two different art forms. You know, like when Keith Murray walked on those Lexuses and Benzes, my brain went, pow. That was crazy.
Right.
I was just doing the math. Like every dent you put is probably 4,000 or 3. I was just like, wow, but it was so gangster. It was so dope. It was fly. It was dope. As opposed to now, everything is clickbait and people do things like the videos drive the records, the visuals, and then they don't care. Like the days of like Busta Rhymes making $1 million video, excuse me, they're over because you'll spend $1 million on a video and people won't care in 4 days.
Right.
And that's just crazy to me that we don't appreciate art.
Right.
Like we don't. Like there's an art in making when that producer gives you something and you write this thing and then the engineer mixes it and then somebody creates this artwork. Like every single one had to be really amazing.
Right.
Every execution for you to get this tangible product, let alone a video. The video was the plus. I'm sorry. And so it's a little disappointing. Nowadays, it's content. Content is king. It's not art is king. It's just give me stuff. Let me see stuff. Show me stuff. And I want to see more stuff. And then I'll decide if I like it. But everybody's showing me stuff, so why should I care about your stuff? Right. And so not necessarily is it about the quality. It's more about the quantity now, right, which is bugged out.
Yeah, I have a DJ friend who talks about, he does something. He's like, he does, I think, incredible mixes. And I'm like, oh, how you getting your hits for that? He goes, nah, but I'm thinking maybe I should have a friend like push me down the stairs while I'm doing it. And then I'm going to get clickbait right there. I'll be, I'll be good.
It's really, I mean, I've always said we all have to evolve or die. We have no choice. But some things just are better than others. I'm not the guy saying like, yeah, carrier pigeons are better than cell phones. Or I want to go back. I get it, man. Like I'm not trying to fight evolution.
Get a MacBook classic. Get a Mac classic. That's all we need.
But it's just really bugged out. Like where quantity is beating quality. And I just, it's the McDonald's theory. Like, I remember being a kid that was like, I want McDonald's, and now I'm like, and my mom be like, the Eddie Murphy did the joke. And I remember I could not relate. I'm like, I like McDonald's, bro. when on Raw, and I remember being that kid saying, McDonald's is awesome, and I don't want my mom's burgers. I don't want no onions in my burger. Now I just really want a healthy burger.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah.
It'd be great.
And true, and I have 2 kids now, 4 and a 6-year-old, and
Right.
their friends get McDonald's, and my wife and I are like, no, we don't. Like, but that was every Thursday with my grandma, McDonald's, and
Right.
because mate, that fucking.
And it was at least it was a better McDonald's.
Yeah,
back
it's true.
then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy to watch the burger shrink.
Yeah, it's disappointing.
And then the irony of life is like how much, what do they call it? How much filling, like legally,
They're allowed to
like
put,
what
yeah.
kind of country do we live in where they're like, you can have this much sand and plastic in it
Right, yeah.
and meat.
It's yeah.
That's crazy.
Passes the FDA approval, so you're
But that means nothing to
No,
me.
I know,
Don't feed me plastic. And ironically, you can go to like Germany, anywhere else, they don't, different standards. They're like, nah, you're not going to do that to our citizens.
Right.
So you go to Germany and get a burger, and it's like a McDonald's burger, and it's really a cow.
Right.
You can taste it, man. I'm like, how come my country doesn't like us? Like, our country just doesn't like us. Like, why do you give us plastic? I lie to you not. What we don't eat is, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to like diss any company. Hopefully you will sponsor us, but KFC. So in general, we don't eat KFC. It's just what we know about. And this one time we had nothing to eat, and we had eaten kebabs every night. That's the only thing. We were in Europe. It was like 4 of us. I'm like, bro, I don't want to eat kebab again. Because that's the only thing that's open at like 2 a.m. after we do a show, or 3 a.m. It'd be the kebab spots. There was a KFC. Everybody's like, hey, bro, I don't eat this. And then we went and ordered it. Grilled chicken with that special sauce. It's amazing. We just had never had, everybody,
Grilled chicken,
we
yeah.
sat there and ate it. It was like, this tastes like chicken, man. This is different. Like, this is amazing. So, yeah.
So does that stuff, that traveling the world and everything, how does that influence you in terms
It changes perspective. My opinions have either been totally challenged, my perceptions have been challenged, but mostly reinforced. End of the day, we're just people. We're just humans. And even the constructs that we create in America aren't really the constructs in the rest of the world. And so the white-black construct doesn't exist because you don't look like this paper.
Right.
And I don't look like this table.
No.
So I don't look like this mic. I'm not. It's not the
right.
same thing. So those are games we play and constructs we make to halt, hate, hurt, control one another. These things, and you and trust me, the rest of the world has had to deal with a construct basically from that. Except the crazier thing is you can go to those same countries and we can go to our neighbors. You can go to Canada and people are, everybody has problems. I'm not saying like,
Right.
But trust me, Polish people are not that fond of Russians. Irish people are really not that fond of British people. So nobody's playing the white game. They're playing, I'm an Irishman. Aussies, you got to remember, Devil's Island. So
Right.
not that fond of British kids. So Aussies are, and then the British came after, but they cleared the jails out. And so the founding people, after the native indigenous are Irish. So those bikies, they're not too fond of a British cunt. So it's just amazing when you get a different world perspective and you see the world, it gets less black and white, then it becomes like many shades of tan and beige. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Back to the Irish and British, so much to the point where years ago I went to an Irish bar and I stupidly, and my brother almost hit me, ordered a Newcastle. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know, like that. Like Tim, which you know, and I was
Right.
like, my bad.
Bro.
Like that, like like a national emergency or something. I want to turn back to,
Yes, sir.
back to your art, because you're obviously an artist that pushes the boundaries as much as you can, and back, and to your moment of talking about deconstructing people's lyrics, it sounds like you approach the art as you want, as if you were writing for yourself, that you're going to go back and deconstruct, because a lot of stuff I don't understand what you're talking about, which is not bad, not an awful thing. It's just, there's stuff I understand, but then there's stuff that you're like, you have to look this stuff up and you have to understand, or you ask you to come in studio and you explain it all to me. But
no worries.
but I want to ask you a question about the idea of top 10 lists, because obviously we had that big kerfuffle with the Joe Budden top 10 list, and I'm not going to ask you about whether that was right or wrong.
I didn't see Joe's,
but it's like somebody added his name to the list and it went viral, and it, not the idea of whether it was right or wrong, but I was thinking about it, and then I was listening to Hot Game off of Van Gogh, and you spit, now who's the lyricist in the game today? If it's to Ghetto plus hits, then I'm going to give it to J. If it's most units sold, got to give it to M, and I'll never move units.
And if I never move units, I'm going to live it through them.
Right. So I was thinking about that question, being like, well, how do we, we have so many categories that need to be talked about when we do these top 10 lists.
Well, so this is the ironic part. Full disclosure. Terminology hit me, and I just recorded a song called Fuck Your Top 50 List, right? So obviously it spoke and affected many of us. One thing I know for a fact is, and I say it in my rhyme, that's what I'm saying, full disclosure. So what I wrote was, I'm paraphrasing, but basically I said, radio personalities play politics. They play a lot of politics. I said radio personalities play politics. Rappers mention people they wish they were down with. And there was another part to it. The point being is, nobody's being honest. So the rapper... So whoever's popular, and I'm the new guy, right? And I'm trying to get on, and maybe I got a bubble, and they ask me, who you listening to? Everybody says the same names, whoever's popular at the time. So whoever is politically the person that you should say, Eminem, Jay-Z, Nas, because you want to be associated with those people.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So the rapper lies, radio personalities, those DJs, I said, yeah, and they suck dick. I said, and DJ, instead of breaking records, they're broken. So all they do is play shit that they're told to play. They have no fucking strength of character to say, I'm going to break a record.
Right.
I believe in this record. So they get paid to suck dick, and that's what they do. And so I said they ride dick like a side bitch. Right. That was the rest of the rhyme. And so in a music that, just like rock and roll and just like jazz, it was kind of the nig music. So let's be honest about what hip hop was. My dad said it was a fad; it wouldn't exist. This music changed our lives. It gave us all jobs, kids everywhere. Man, Poland hip hop is alive and well, and Canadian, it's so much hip. I'm not talking about trap dumb shit. And no disrespect to trap music. I'm just saying, not repetitive, corny. All those are small offsprings and subgenres, but hip hop lyrics and bars and beats and culture. This subculture gave us a journey, man, and there's no color to that. Right. It's just a spirit. It's a vibe. It's a journey, and we all bring it to the table. Beastie Boys are just as hip hop as Nas,
right?
Because they're fresh. What they brought to the game is who they are, and that's what hip hop is. Hip hop is literally everything before it, like a gumbo of fucking cultures and experiences. And so with those lists, everybody's lying because they want to be down. They don't want to offend Paul Rosenberg, or they don't want to and no disrespect, bro. But I almost feel like And I'm not talking. I should have said Paul. I don't want to mention any one person. They don't want to offend Def Jam, or they don't want to offend EMI.
Right.
Like, any power structure. They don't want to offend whoever runs Hot 97 at the time. So everybody makes these lists based on who they can kind of ignore. There's always, and my East Coast guys are going to get a little perturbed with me, but I speak truth to power. I expect a 30-year-old kid from Minnesota that moved to New York to not necessarily know the impact of West Coast MCs. But then you shouldn't make a list. You don't have the right to make a list. The slant always becomes negating all the impact of West Coast or other people that are not from New York. So that's already totally unfair.
Right.
Let's be fair about these bars and these lyrics, and we go line for line. Like, everybody else has to take I get it. New York made it, of course. Doesn't mean you own it. It's all of ours now.
Right.
Black people don't own hip hop. It's a culture that was given us, was created by those people in the Bronx, you know what I'm saying? But now it's all ours. It's what we bring to this table. And so 50 MCs list, who are you to tell? Who are you? First of all, why do you get to make a list? And the other part of that is also this. I've said this for 10 years. If you think you're the best, we should do something. It's a Wendy Day, an Irish woman, wonderful woman that saved Eminem and Ras Kass and UGK and the Locks, freed the Locks. So Wendy Day, amazing woman. She used to have something called Rap Olympics. I propose Bar Olympics. So every 4 years, let whoever's the hottest guys, 25 of them, and then let hip-hop decide another 25. Put us all in a room, boxed in. You get no internet. You get no homeboy. So we'll find out if you could write raps, and you live stream it. The world gets the vote.
But written? All written or freestyle?
No, written. Because freestyling is a different machine. Can you write these rhymes? So the whole thing is let the world decide. It all goes to charity. You put 50 MCs live stream for the title. Like Olympics. Yeah. Gold, silver, bronze. But no homies, no internet. It'll pop up on a screen. The world votes. 5 topics. You have 2 hours. 1 beat. Write your shit. Lay it out. 5 top. You can go 16 bars. You can do 20 bars. You can do 24. If you got an ugly 8, however you do yours, go for it. You got about 2 hours. You don't want it to drag out forever. And then that's the song. Put the record out and let the world decide. But they're going to see who can really write a rap.
Right.
Because now they can watch everybody's show, and all this is going to charity, and then you don't get to say you're the best when you didn't write a rap.
Right.
See, right now we have a show, and so no disrespect to anybody, but I always say this: if you don't write raps, you're not playing the same game as me. Like, I made the example before of if LeBron James went out and all of a sudden a little Mexican guy jumped out his shoe and did all the dunks, I don't want LeBron. I want
the guy,
Pedro. Yeah, I want that guy. So we have a lot of that. We have a lot of people with little guys jumping out their shoe, and they're like, yeah, I'm the man. I'm so dope. I'm the greatest. I'm a genius. I'm brilliant. No, you're a brand, bro, and you're not. You don't act like you're on my level on like writing these rhymes. Like you're not. You're good at karaoke. And bro, if I had like $1 million stage set and I can, jump off an airplane and land in a spaceship and then the stage goes upside down and now I'm walking upside down, that'd be amazing with Ras Kass doing that. Yeah, it's a great show.
Be like, the best live show ever, yeah.
Yeah, of course. I don't have those resources. You do, but that's great. And I'm not mad at you, but don't say you do what I do.
Right.
Either you Michael Phelps or you not, bro. You can't be you can't have a jet ski and say you can outswim Michael Phelps.
Right.
prove it. Get off the jet ski and race. And so that's what we need in hip hop. We have no qualifications, and what we have is a lot of groupieism. So people start qualifying based on like, he's got the hottest song. I'm like, so because you got the best club right now in a strip club, that means what you said was good. It's not true.
It's also the audience, right? I mean, it's like it's the age of the audience that is buying.
Yeah, but still, no, it has nothing to do with that. I disagree with that. When we pull this beat away, we didn't say who had how many cars, who's the cutest. I feel like I got some of the best spit, and I probably got a bigger dick. You want to play that game? I mean, that has nothing to do with the price of rice in China, right?
Yeah.
So then don't tell me about whose song played all the time.
But no, sorry, that's what I meant. I meant like the amount of units sold doesn't really reflect whether you're talented or not.
Right.
It goes back to your point about hot, like radio stations not breaking records. If like, I've always said this is like, if the example is, if you played a Ras Kass song
50 times
an hour, it's going to
be a hit.
Yeah, it's going to be a hit. It's going to be one of those things where, of course you're going to go buy the, buy the album.
Right.
But, it's that, and this is going on forever, where someone calls up and says, I want to request so-and-so. They hear, but it's going to be in rotation anyway, so they think they're requesting it anyway, but they're obviously not.
Well, my thing is this. I've said this many times, and I've been lucky enough to have believed in and watched people succeed when people didn't know them. And I won't even mention those people, but I've watched, some of your biggest stars, just be the homie and just say, like, bro, I believe in you. Because I have something called, this is how I say it. I can never take from you what God gave you or your parents gave you. So I could hate on it, I could try to deny it, or I'd rather just support it and say, you are really good at what you do, and I respect that. Because that's what was given to me every time I got an opportunity, was people saying, I can't take from you this talent that you have. You are dope on a mic, and you're this and that. And so I'm blessed to have had that, and that's what I try to put out in the universe. But if you don't have it, just be good at what you do. But rap has become this thing, and it's not an age thing to me. It's called rap. So either you can write a rap and recite a rap, or you can't.
There.
Think about it. It's called skiing. If you can't ski, you don't get to say, I want to go medal. I want to go medal at skiing. But a rap is the only thing where you get awards for not being good at what you do.
Good point, yeah.
Rap, it's crazy to be in the only job that it's called something, and now the qualifications have nothing to do with the job. Right. You can't be a drummer and not be able to play the drums. You can't be a banker if you keep losing money. Well, you might turn in Donald Trump and become president, but in general,
there's a chance.
It's just it's crazy that the skill set is not what's important. It's about the bells, whistles. And I know 19-year-old people, and from LA to New York, to Canada to Germany, girls and guys that'll say, no, bars are bars. He's not saying anything, or she's not saying anything. That was dope. That's trash. So I don't think it's an age thing. I think in the past 10 years, it's been intentionally reinforced that nonsense gets rewarded. And so that's what they want, is for those people that were, think about the past 10 years, if you were 8 years old and all you heard was trash, you'd still be the McDonald's kid. Like, all I want is McDonald's, until somebody says, no, there's some good burgers you can eat. My mom cooks a really decent burger. And so there are people now that are 18, 19, and they're hearing bars and they're hearing lyrics. I'm a big fan of battle MCs, because at least they started bringing, for that 18-year-old or for that 14-year-old to hear lyrics, and it's entertaining. It's in a format for them to be entertained, but it still shows them putting linear thoughts together, to set things up, punchlines, to have, like, delivering a joke, it's a skill set, and I don't think I don't think the industry wanted intelligent MCs. I think they wanted what we have now. It's not even a balance. It's just a lot of tomfoolery. The saddest part is their demographic is 13 to 23-year-old white girls.
Yeah.
And no disrespect, but I'm neither a girl nor am I 13 years old.
What?
You didn't know?
No.
You didn't
man.
see it?
I was like,
sorry.
I was finding pictures of you on. I
was like, oh my God.
That does not look like what I think.
Yeah, so I just don't want to cater to that. I think it's kind of pedophilic to want to make little songs and have little girls gyrate and you dancing like little girls. I think it's very R. Kelly-ish.
Right.
I don't want to make that kind of music. I want to make music that speaks to my brothers and girls and whatever. But I'm once again, I'm not 13 and I'm not a girl. So I want to make music for over 21 men and say, bro, these are my perceptions. This is how I see the world. And honestly, hip hop used to be the music that was forcing the world to see the 19, the 20-year-old from our perspective.
Right.
Why is it now the music that caters to little girls? I think it's weird. And I think corporations did that. And we're, as a community, we have to own that we allowed, we allowed our culture to be vultured just for a few people to make a lot of money, and then we all jump through the same hoops hoping to become those people. And I don't want to be them. I don't want to be left and dead and destroyed, but I don't want that. I want to make, honestly, I think there's a happy medium. I think I want to do the indie rock band. I want to do the Gangstar of hip hop. Like I don't ever need to sell 85 billion records. I just want to, give me my place, show me my respect, and let me keep doing what I do. And I'd love to go gold and stay consistently gold and make an album once every 5 years and, and do things that are art instead of full whore. And how many ways can I make you dance, 13-year-old girl? I just don't want to do it.
Was that always, when you dropped in 96 with Soul on Ice, was that always kind of your mentality? And was there, prior to you dropping the album, was there an album that you heard that was like, all right, this is the kind of art that I want?
Everybody's. I'm like I said, as soon as I heard hip hop, like it was always there, but when I heard it, just a fan, man. There's EPMD, the Gangstars, Redman, EPMD, Ghetto Boys. Like I'm a fan. I'm Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul. It's just so much good music. Like, and Beastie Boys. I still think Paul's Boutique is
amazing. Yeah,
I think it's better than License to Ill, and I'm a big fan of License to Ill. So I'm just a fan. Like I believe you could be a fan and be a competitor, also. So I'm both, man. Like I listen to those things and I analyze them. And Rakim, like they were changing my, Big Daddy Kane, put a quarter in your ass because you played yourself. Done.
Right.
Who says that?
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy. That's
I got no comeback. Yeah,
and think about it. They can't even relate, which is crazy because that's video game shit.
Right.
Like,
and now it's if anything, it's a card.
Right.
Chuck E. Cheese, which drives me out of my mind. But
So it's just you had to be there. It had to mean something to you. There's a way to reflip that line, but I'm just saying. I was a kid that I was like, oh wow, that's crazy. He's the greatest. Like LL Cool J, like so many great MCs. And the awesome part was that everybody was very individual. And now individualism is frowned upon. Yeah. There's a Japanese saying, the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. And I never thought hip hop would be that thing. That being an individual was how you could lose. Like Everybody has to look the same. Production has to sound the same. Just think about how varied in 1996. There was Wu-Tang, there was Biggie, there was Pac, there was NWA, and they all sold a lot of records. Tribe Called Quest, there was Hyro, like all these different people. Biz Markie, he didn't sound anything like anybody. He was like funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all these, like we could coexist. And I always say that to people, like, you know what's sad? Country Western doesn't do that. Jazz, jazz artists get to be jazz artists. Like rock dudes, there's so many different forms of rock. They all get to be themselves. How come we all have to be one person? Whoever's successful, we all have to turn into him. That's whack.
Well, how did that? So, what do you point? We were talking about this off mic, but we were at a time where you could play Self-Destruction on the air, and then you could also play Doo-Doo Brown. Like two completely opposite.
But it's supposed
purposes.
to be.
But that's how did we get to a point where
corporate?
Who gave them? I guess more. Who gave them that power?
I would say I don't have the answer. I'm going to say that for one. My guesstimations are this. Even people like me, I took some L's for saying some of the things. I got Kaepernicked. Trust that, right, to a certain degree. There's also, I believe this happened. Everything's a tool. The internet was an amazing tool that gave independent artists like a fair footing to compete. But once BET got sold, once Bob Johnson sold it to Viacom, we lost the platform. You got to remember, and I wasn't even a factor, but you got to remember this. There was the box, there was BET, and then there was MTV. MTV didn't play rap. They didn't like it. They only played Prince and Michael Jackson. Those are the black guys that they played. Everything else, we're not interested. So the box was local, and then people became stars locally through the box. Then BET is when you got national. Urban means black. That's, let's not play games here. So, so urban, the box, box to BET, urban, and then once MTV picked it up, you were out of here. But we forced them to listen to us. Hip hop, it's just like jazz and rock and roll. They didn't like rock and roll. It was nigger music. Let's just be honest. That's what they called it. Until Elvis, till it was a white boy doing it. So same thing with jazz. So we keep getting our shit stolen because we allow them to. And then somebody reaps the benefits. One guy, usually a light-skinned guy, he gets in, he gets to be cool, and it's like digestible, and he makes this really clean version of it. So we lost once we gave up control of BT. That was how we forced the world to hear us. And, with everything everybody else is doing, billionaire MCs or whatever, we don't have any outlet. There's only 2 record labels. There's only one venue. If you're not signed to blah, 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 the agency, you're not getting no shows. And there's only 2 radio stations. So everything's monopolized, and we're playing a game. It's this big lie of, I'm this, I'm that. No, bro. It's just like Disney. They own everything. Stop playing.
Right.
Stop playing. So you piss off somebody at Disney, the right one, you're not getting no job nowhere.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's a big lie about creativity. They've already it's owned. BT is Viacom. Period. They're not interested. And I say this in the most loving way ever. Sometimes I watch not the Anti-Defamation League, but Jewish TV. I forgot what it's called. It's Israeli. It's a channel, and I'll watch it. But if Jewish people didn't own it, I don't know. What if it's just about the skinheads owning Jewish TV? Yeah. Not really in their best interest. You understand what I'm saying? So why? What? That's not black entertainment. That's what some other guy thinks black should listen to. It's not in our best interest. I remember a BET that had Tavis Smiley. They had Teen Summit where kids would sit and talk about politics and talk about things that affected us. Now all I see is coonery and a whole bunch of, they don't even play music. It's like MTV. I call it MTV Coon. Like all they play is ass shaking records. They used to play Caribbean, jazz, rock. There were different time segments, gospel, hip hop, Southern hip hop. So it's not a reflection of the people, and so everything's much more monopolized. We gave up BT, and then we never created a union, so there's never a loyalty. Like actors have a union, SAG-AFTRA, musicians have, but hip-hop artists never stuck together, so one person will sell out somebody and just run with it and like throw everybody under the bus just so they can get a lot of money. And then when that person wins, it's like, look at this. You can be this too. Right. If only you be a moron, you could have lots of cars. Right. We'll make sure you're a star. You'll get the M&M commercial. You'll get the, you'll get C's Candy, whatever commercial, whatever. You Snickers bars, whatever this thing is. You too, just emasculate yourself and you'll get lots of endorsements. Whereas Public Enemy, and like, it's dope, bro, when I watch Ari Melber, The Beat, and and I watch 50-year-old government worker pulls out his MacBook on the news and it got a Wu-Tang flag. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm as much of a fan of Ice Cube as I am of Wu-Tang and Tribe Called Quest, Nas, Pac, Big L. Like, everybody's fresh, and we just don't have that. We haven't as a community supported ourselves, and we keep letting somebody else write our narrative. And that, just you having me here helps me. I get to tell my narrative that I exist too, and we're making great music, and we should be supporting each other, and we can all coexist. There's nothing wrong with an ass-shaking record, but it is something wrong with 50 people making the same sounding ass-shaking record.
Right.
That there is something wrong with that.
And then people thinking it's a different record. Like,
I can't tell.
No, I can't tell. I thought I was getting old because I was like, oh, maybe I'm just getting old. But I remember I tell the story, but I was at a like artist release. I don't know what do they call it? Like artist release party?
Like a release party?
Not a release party, but it was like
listening,
displaying artists showcase.
Oh, showcase.
There we go. That's the word. And in between, one thing I don't really enjoy now is that people rap over their lyrics, which drives me out of my mind because I'm like, do you know your lyrics? And then also this DJ was going and she was playing. She was playing music. She was very attractive. And then she switched beats, and everyone lost their damn mind. And I was like, what happened? Like, she switched, and it's like, oh, she's changed beat. I was like, when? Well, I guess it's the same song over and over. She just pointed up in the air, so everyone knew, I guess, that she, but it was like one of those things I was like, what's going on in the music that it's just like everyone thinks that's different?
I don't get it. I mean, I get it, I guess. It just used to be, and I'm not trying to live in the past. I don't want to be that guy, right. Bitter Billy. But it's just, it once again, man, like, I can go to a rock concert and hear different stuff.
Yeah, different sound, yeah.
Like every band has a vibe. Like, I just don't understand why you want, like, how, like, my biggest problem with music is say I like killer rap. Like, you killed the guy, your first song. Killed him, and then I killed him. Like, damn, that shit was hard. Then the second song, killed him, then I killed him. I'm like, yeah, that was good too. But like by the third or fourth, I'm like, I don't know which one I like because they just keep killing people. So which one should I like? What's the kill? What's the Kill Bill of the kill songs? Right, I don't know because now I just feel like you're fucking the same chicken, man. Like I don't get it, and so I don't understand. They don't have a sophistication about what's really good. They're just trained by whatever wins. You can't tell me these songs are like smart. Like there was a comedian woman that she I think she did like Oh, she did UTFO, the educated rapper. So she literally rapped the verse, which was amazing because I am a fan and I couldn't do that whole Kango, the educated rapper. So she did his verse and then she did like, no disrespect, she did Amigos record. It's very distinctly different. That's all I could say. It was very interesting. Like, and had the lyrics printed up coming underneath. I was like, well, one of these is a skill set, and one of these is, it's cool. I mean, do you, but I don't know, maybe we should have, there are subgenres, I get it. But maybe we should have something called like hip hop. And like Canada actually, you have to play a certain amount of Canadian artists on the radio. America, we should have like, you have to play a certain amount of hip hop. Since it gave us all jobs, you could trap, you could rump shake, you could do whatever you want to do, but there should be a certain amount allotted in the club. You have to play. I used to love to come to New York because of that. I used to go to clubs and it was crazy. Like, I remember just being like 19 and 20 and I'd go to, hot clubs and, whatever. I'd be with OC or Kid Capri or, whatever. And Busta Rhymes would be over here and, whatever in the club. And they'd go into a reggae set. Black girl, white girl, rock girl, whatever. Everybody knew. You felt like an asshole for not knowing these records. Then it went to a fucking, not reggaeton, just a Latin part. Then a straight rock part. And you felt like an asshole if you didn't know them records because it was actually the DJ was taking you on a journey. It was a cultural journey. Then you get even to a West Coast set. It was pretty stereotypic. It was going to be Snoop and Tupac and whatever. They didn't play like Too Short a lot, but at least that. Like, we don't have music appreciation. It's just like, I'm set in my ways. Play these songs that sound the same. And that's not really, I think we're losing. It's a lack of, it's a lack of culture, and it's at the expense of young people. I feel really happy. I have twin boys, and they're like 22, bro. But it's crazy that Dummies is coming playing Tribe Called Quest. Like, they just discovered Tribe Called Quest. Like, it's fire. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, you just figured that one out? But I'm thankful that they're finding it out. I'm like, thank you. Like, it's not like, it's cool to have a sophisticated ear. It's just really whack to be closed mind. Like, I don't want to be the old guy that only likes 1996 or whatever. I'm open mind. I want to hear evolution of music. I just feel like, and I understand designing a hit record, but I do want to hear you be creative with it. If it's just, Jay-Z doesn't write rhymes for a reason because he's smart enough to remember things.
Right.
If you're just on a whole bunch of drugs and you just say stuff, I don't think that's a talent. I think that's a part of your addiction.
Let's talk about other stuff. You got bigger issues.
Right. And a lot of these songs, they're like love, they're love ballads to their pain pills.
Right. So does this, I mean, what you're talking about now, I mean, that kind of from, I right away thinking of your song, White Power featuring Immortal Technique.
Yeah.
And the kind of the bigger picture of how the white power structure breaks us down, gender, race, in order to keep them in power. Do you think if hip hop wasn't the number one genre of music, that white power structure wouldn't be trying to influence it as much as it is? It seems that it is, in terms of like dumbing it down.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. It was an incredible revenue stream. It cost less to create it, and even still, it's just like, you got to remember the jazz artists, the rock artists, the rock and roll artists they're getting robbed. The rock and roll artists couldn't even put their faces on albums. The black ones couldn't.
No.
So we have to understand what white power stands for. I'm not here to blame every white person, but yeah, in America, there's a historic line from once the first people got here on a boat that are not indigenous people and made a profit. And that profit has everybody walks in, you're born, and I walk into debt. Like I was born into debt. Meanwhile, my contribution, my family's contribution, my native side, we were here, land stolen. My Moorish side, which is still my native side. Then, yeah, I have French blood in me. I probably have, whatever. Well, shit, we got fucking Dutch in us. I mean, shit, that's fine. Worked out well for my nose, and gets me some girls, and I'm happy. I'm not hating and mad at the world, but let's call a spade a spade. White power has disenfranchised literally including white women, because everything's a minority. Nobody inverts the question. If women are minorities, Black, Spanish, Asian, what's the majority?
Right.
Then you look at your money and say, "Oh, I get it."
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to tell me. So it's just analytical thinking and saying, so how come you get to be the majority? Why? Why are you the majority? In a democratic society where everybody, everybody's equal, and we're that's why we're in the conundrum that we are in 2019 with Trump and about 38% of our country. They have an they have an entitlement factor. That's why little guys are running around shooting everything up. And they happen to be white kids. I'm just angry. And the funny shit is, like, you should be the least angry out of everybody. You can't, not that anybody, everything's relative. Everybody goes through their, their demons and hard lives. But some people literally are born with a target on their back.
Right.
Just think about I think about my family. When I think about those little brown kids, like, there's no reason to be that mean to somebody, to take a kid and never have a plan for that kid to meet their parents again.
Right.
I mean, just think if somebody did that to your mom, or, for me, I'm like, Donald Trump, what if somebody did that to your son, man? I mean, let alone, then you got to think about physical abuse.
Right.
You don't want to give them soap. I mean, that's evil. And so white power does those things and claims to have a moral high ground. And we've lived in a country that won't even admit that it's done it and continues to do it to me and my sons and my dad. And so we're supposed to just eat shit and grin and bear it. And if we bring it up, we're bad for making white power feel uncomfortable. Right. And that's crazy to me.
Right. White men, we're at a time where white men feel like they're under attack because women are speaking up, actually, and people are taking Colin Kaepernick as, and it is hilarious because, not hilarious in a good way, it's hilarious in a way where, and I always say this, is that the same black leaders that they praise, like Dr. King, every year for his birthday, if he was alive today, they would be destroying him in social media.
Well, they destroyed him back then.
Right, but I'm saying, but it's the same, same idea. It's like, oh, now that he's dead, we could kind of...
Well, that's the whole thing, because now they control the narrative.
Right.
That's the problem with the power structure. History's written by the winner. So, of course, if your options are Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, who do you want to promote?
Dr. King.
Right.
Yeah.
Beat my ass, I'll pray for you.
Yeah.
Beat me some more and I'll pray. Another guy saying, I have the right to be here. I have the right to exist. And if you hit me, I'm going to hit you back.
Right.
Once again, sure can give you a gun and tell you at 18, go shoot those Arabs, go shoot those Asian people, go shoot people. But then here they're like, no, you just shut up. You're crazy. My dad, he fought in Vietnam, and then they came back and they spit on him and called them niggers, let alone some of the white kids got spit on. But it was even different.
Right.
They're still like, you're a nigger, though. So until we look in the mirror, and we're finally having conversations that I wrote about in Nature of the Threat, where I'm watching white and black and male and female and gay and Jew and Gentile, and people are having these conversations that are totally uncomfortable, but like pundits are saying, yeah, there's a white entitlement, and we have to stop. We have to look in this mirror because we didn't realize that there were about 40% of us that are just fucking blatant assholes. And we keep blaming somebody. Trust me, after 9/11, I knew pressure's off me.
Yeah.
They're going to kill all the Arabs. But you know what? If I don't stand with my Arab brothers and my Jewish brothers and my gay brothers and my poor brothers and my sisters, they're going to get me at some point too. It's always going to come back to me. Shit runs downhill, bro. So I'm a fair. I'm like, bro, you can't be mean to the Jew. You can't be mean to the Muslim. You can't be mean to the Irish. You just be nice to people. Why don't you just be nice? Stop being a dick. Because as soon as you don't target the Mexicans, it's going to come back to me anyway. Right. And I don't want that. Like, I just want, we're all the human family. And if we don't get into a love space, and sometimes love is tough where you have to accept criticism. And so the biggest problem with white power, the structure, is it was amazing to watch pundits, like history, you know, and just 60-year-old, you know, white male and white female, like human beings talking about things that I've been talking about, which is, yeah, we got to understand the impact of not just slavery, about institutionalized racism, about what the war on crime really was, what law and order meant when Nixon said it. That was the 60s. He was saying, you want law and order. They talk about they want to vote. Fuck them. I will beat them. We'll sick dogs on them. That wasn't law and order. That was fucking murder. Right. And so until we start being honest about what our country has done, we've allowed terrorism, domestic terrorism, Ku Klux Klan, racism, hatred to always live. They've always gotten a chance, just as long as they don't rock the boat too much. Like, yeah, of course we call them nigs, and we talk bad about them and chinks, and we call them beaners or whatever. Yeah, we say that behind closed doors. We never say that in front of people. But even if we do, we just say, hey, well, you know, I misspoke and whatever. And so we need to call a spade a spade. We have to own the legacy of this country, or it doesn't heal. And honestly, philosophically, with white power, I think the worst thing that can happen for America is they get the war that they asked for. Like, I think 40% dies and power structure shifts. I think if skinheads and neo-Nazis and, you know, you don't like blacks and brown, I think there's more of us than those. And I think they're you know, I think 51% of even, you know, white, so-called white, so whatever, my Italian brother and my French brother and my British brother and my Irish brother, they'll be like, fuck them cats. They lose. We'll destroy them. If they want that war, it's a war they don't win. Because it's a war based on a false supremacy when we're all here and we're at our best when we're together, I think. And so if those people want that war, I think it's gonna suck for them. I think they lose. I think it's the universal war. I think, you know, good and bad at the end of the day. There's no reason. I don't walk down the street and have a malice towards anybody based on what they look like. I don't. And I think that's a whack way to live my life, to feel like I'm better because of what did you do to be you? Nothing, except for swim really fast out your parents' dick. That's all we did. But I didn't pick. If it was up to me, I'd be fucking the king of England. Are you kidding me? I came out, but I'd like to look just like this and be a little blackie and swam out and then I'm like, oh yeah, give me money all the time. Just fuck. I would have been a Trump, and I'd be like, Dad, you're an asshole. I mean, whatever. But I always say that to women. I'm like, bro, what did you do except be born? Like, who are you? So all this stuff, these things, we didn't have a choice. You know, our choices are once we're born, and who do you want to be, and what kind of carbon footprint and spiritual footprint do you want to leave on this planet? I hope I leave some love and some tough love and some critiques, and And I want to have fun. I want to make some money. I work hard, and that's the job, and that's the kind of music I'm trying to make. I want to make a footprint that challenges people to think.
Has that always been the case for you?
Yeah.
I mean, from day one, being like, this is what I'm going to.
My mom wanted a philosopher, and so she was very disappointed in me. We got into it. I went to prison. She was not happy. Second time, definitely not happy. And she was like, I thought you were going to be a philosopher. I was like, if you listen to the music, I'm basically the philosopher you wanted. So that's what it is. It's philosophical and self-analytical and harsh towards myself. I judge myself. As I throw my stones, I know I'm in a glass house, so I try to talk about that stuff. I try to talk about, hey, I'm an asshole, and I failed here. This is what I did wrong. That's really Solo Nice too. That's what it's about. Me taking inventory 25 years after my first opportunity to tell my story, and trying to figure out what did I do right, how many things did I do wrong, am I a better person, have I regressed, and it sucks. I had to answer some of those questions like, yeah, you fucked up, you did the same thing again, man. Mm-hmm. Like, you need to get better, I'm just blessed enough to, I may not have the hoopla of, Wu-Tang, like 25 years. And I wish I had a Netflix show and everything. I mean, God willing, next time. I'm going to keep on fighting. I think I got a good story, too. But for me, think about it, man. Like, Pac and Big, bro, they not here. They don't get to celebrate. Nipsey, bro, we don't know if we're going to be here tomorrow. Right. So for me, if nobody celebrates me, my mother loves me, I will celebrate that I'm still here, I'm alive, I got a voice, and I'm of fairly sound mind. So, that thank God, thank the universe, I'm thankful to be able to analyze 25 years of my life. 2/3 of my life I've been doing this music stuff, and I'm just blessed to have that. A lot of people, Big L don't get to do that, man. Right. And I'm not saying this like jokingly. I'm saying it with all humility and amazing human beings. And one day I won't be here, but at least I made my 25. So if nobody celebrates that, I will.
Right. And and of course, the music's going to live on well after Master Ace says that in his last, in the Brooklyn story, Kings.
Yeah.
He talks about, I wish that we could live forever, but we know the music's going to live on to here. I want to ask you about a track that I think is, it not just shows how, how you push the lyrical envelope, you also push the kind of production envelope or producing the envelope in a way. And that's with The Long Way featuring Everlast. Uh-huh. Because there's guitar, horns, everything. How did that track come together? And I mean, it's a fucking incredible track.
You like that record? Yay, man. Everlast, you hear that? Let's shoot this video, bro. So, on my first album, everything really, it was synergy for me, and it was meant to be. So, obviously, I'm a big Everlast fan. I'm from LA. You're going to be a House of Pain fan.
Right.
So, but back in the day, I used to go to a club, and I was like 14. It was a 21-year-old club. It was called Water in the Bush. And so I remember seeing Ice-T and Everlast. I didn't know them. Then maybe fast forward like 2 or 3 years, I was like Ras Kass. I was becoming Ras Kass. And in that process, 14-ish, I had an older homie that would take us to the clubs because I was like a hip-hop dancer. We break dance, and we were just bad kids, like drinking 40s and beating niggas. Like, it was crazy. We were like a little rat pack, little team ragtag team of bad kids. But hip-hop saved our lives. It changed our journey. And so Everlast would be in the club, Ice-T would be in the club, just legends, but we're stupid kids. We're like, oh shit, that's so-and-so and that's so-and-so. I vaguely knew Divine Styler
Oh yeah, nice.
So saying nothing. So Devon, because my homeboy, my homie that brought us out, he was part of his. They danced for him. They were called Scheme Team. So back day, Kalani danced for Scheme Team. He's the first person that really heard me rap and believed in me. And so on Soul on Ice, I pour out liquor for Kalani. He died before my first album came out, and he's like one of the first people that ever believed in me rhyming. Period. So fast forward. So I've always known Divine. Didn't put two and two together. I started getting closer with Everlast about 2 years ago. Like always observing, little brother. You salute.
Yeah.
Like if I don't know you, you want things to be organic. So
Yeah.
long story short, getting to know Everlast. We're trying to do this record. I'm like, I want you to, because I asked him to be on Drink Irish with me on the Apollo Brown record, and he, always busy, can't get to it, but it's really cool. He paid me this amazing compliment. He was out here in New York, and he, it's about like a year and a half ago. He's like, yo, what you doing? Like, you out here? I'm like, yeah. He's like, come out, do Drink Irish. And then he does this whole presentation like, I'm really mad at myself. I fucking should have been on this fucking record. Because instead, it ended up being me, Sean Price, Sick Jackin, and Slain. And thank you, Slain. Slain bodied it. But initially, I did ask
Everlast. Yeah.
Everlast. And so he paid me this compliment, and I'll make a long story short. When I went over to do this next record, I was like, yo, I really want you. I was like, it'll be greater later. I want you on this thing, Soul on Ice 2, because you're a foundation of LA hip hop, man, and and you big bro, and I would love for you to do it. So we went, and we were trying to make something, but when I went over to his crib, to the stew, not his crib, to his studio, Divine's there. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot. And then all this stuff, we started talking, and it was very organic. Divine's like, I've known Ras since he was 14. And Everlast, like, Divine is the person that taught me how to rap. I was like, fucking A, bro.
That's
like,
fucking crazy,
literally 1 degree of separation. It was just so organic. We laughing. Kalani, he's like, yeah, I remember Kalani. I was like, fuck, bro, that was the homie. That's why we used to be in the club when I was 14 with the 40-ounce bottles. So it got so organic, and we were trying to come up with the song that night. And it just didn't happen. And I just remember I just went back, and my homeboy sent a beat. I was like, this is it. And I just wrote about what we went through that night. So literally I did that. I've never written a friend record. So it was just dope to say, like, I fuck with, like, that's LA shit. Like, I fuck with you the long way. I fuck with you.
That's dope. Yeah.
And like how his bestie, you know what I'm saying, Divine, like my homeboy, rest in peace. Like I didn't know I was, I knew I was a fan of Everlast. I didn't know he was like brother to my brother and my big brother, and we were so connected, and the love and appreciation, it was just real genuine. So it was awesome, bro. It was like a painless record. Like I had so much fun sitting with them that night. Just hanging. We were like going through beats, but like kind of drinking and smoking and just talking shit for like 5 hours. We just had fun, and we really weren't really creating.
So the beats were like secondary.
Yeah. Well, we were looking for the right beat, and then we had liked one beat, but neither of us recorded anything. And then I heard that beat. My homeboy sent it randomly. I was like, this is how I feel about the other night. So I just wrote that. Sent it to him. He was like, this is it. He was like, this shit is easy. And he caked it. Like, literally easy peasy. It was like, hung out, vibed out. I found the right music, sent it to him. He deaded it like in fucking an hour, sent it back. I'm like, and then texted, he texted, he's like, we shooting a video to this, right? I'm like, fuck yeah. yeah, so we shooting a video.
It would be in LA.
Yeah. I have a great concept for it. And he, he gets to be Everlast. He's like, I don't even like videos, but we're going to figure out how to do this. I'm like, awesome, bro. Yeah, man. I'm just a fan, man. And, like, honestly, everything on this album, it was very genuine. And that's the most I could ask for, is just people that wanted to be a part of my celebration of my 25 years. And so, I'm very thankful.
I know I've kept you here long, but I have two more questions.
Okay.
The last track on the album, Opioid Crisis, is, it addresses the BS war on drugs, and we all know that shit, and how Big Pharma is kind of responsible for the drug addiction problem in the country. Why leave us with that track? And I have a
Yeah, go ahead.
follow up because there is a hidden track.
Ghosted.
Right. So my question was that are these two connected in a way, or is that kind of and am I ruining it by saying that there's a
No, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Well, opioid crisis. All right. So first album. Into my album, I get killed on Solo Nights. What's the last song on Solo Nights? It's Novus Ordo Seclorum.
check?
Yeah.
Check.
Order through Chaos.
Okay. Yeah.
Order up KO. So at the end, I say it, and then I get smoked in the booth. And so I knew I was going to have this other record because I had personal shit that I wanted to talk about that I didn't really want people to know that I talked about. Like, that's why I made it. It's called Ghosted.
Right.
And it's like me kind of feeling some type of way about certain things. Shit, I talk about rape. I talk about a whole bunch of shit. And then I was like, I got to have fun. And, it was like, a little clickbait, what's his name? Joyner Lucas. I'm like, fuck. I just had other shit I wanted to get off my chest, but not like seriously, like that was my sell to my album. But there was some personal stuff in the first and second verse I need to get done. And then third verse was more like, you know what? Throw some shots at you too for fun, whatever. But really the reason why I left it with Opioid Crisis was because life ain't shits and giggles at the end of the day. And a lot of, like right now, weed is legal in California. Weed's legal in Vegas. But there's a lot of black and brown people that got thrown under the bus. Some will never get out of prison because of that. And now Wall Street's investing. It costs $1 million to get a weed license in Vegas.
Amazing.
Now the same people that beat us and locked us in prison forever but Wall Street now, those guys are collecting again. It's the same thing. It's like it's just unfair. It's wrong. It's the American sin that white America refuses to accept. You demonize, you murder people until you get your cut.
Right.
And they tend to be, darker than you. And when do we like, how do we make that right?
Right.
At least own it. At least say, you know what, we do. And that's what at least we're getting in America. There's certain cities like in New Jersey where they're like, no, we got to make sure, urban people can own some of these dispensaries and these grow shops because it's crazy. Wall Street, you take our money for you to get more rich. I don't know who the fuck Madison is. Why does he get to have the building? The fuck he do for me?
Right.
Owns, fucked my great-great-great-great-grandma, fucked her, then her kid. Like for real, like it's bullshit. Like think about that. Think about the history of slavery and racism where a person, Jefferson, fucked a slave, then she had a kid, and then she got older. Then he fucked her too, and then she had a kid. And then they got nothing, just fucked. This nigga's incesting people, Washington and Jefferson. So when do we get at least an apology? Like if we all turned around and wanted to kill just one human being, we almost should be able to get away with that after what's been picnics, the term, pick a nigga, bro. That's where it comes from. Picnic, pick a nigga. Sundays. So nobody wants to deal with that. And then we're taught, and so are young white people, they're mistaught because nobody wants to own the truth of it.
Right.
But we have to know or we'll really walk through here blindfolded and really get fucked off. But yeah, we just, for me, I had to do that one because, yeah, black drug addiction, we get jailed for our vices. They cry for treatment when it happened to the white kids. War on drugs, an opioid crisis. Big Farm killed more Americans than ISIS. It's facts. Like, and when do we not, like, when are we going to look in that mirror and say, yeah, when the black kids did it, they were animals. They're savages. They're animals. And then now, like, bro, nobody's in Connecticut or New Hampshire. The Mexican guy El Chapo did not go to New Hampshire, bro. You're making your own meth. And that's my whole thing is like, stop blaming and at least it's almost like the irony of the sin that you used to blame the black and the brown kid and now this shit is wiping white America out. We knew one thing, meth was gonna be, I knew that in 2005. I was like, this meth thing is, we literally called it like, bro, there's a white people crack.
Hey.
I was like, bro, this shit is crazy, bro. Motherfuckers losing their teeth. This shit's crazy. And that was murdering. Like, the irony was, how come people don't have compassion unless it looks like them?
Right. Well, they call it something different, right? I mean, with the mass shootings, white guy, it's mental health issue. Black guy, it's a terrorist group.
Right.
But essentially.
Right. And so, yeah, that's the reason why I made that technically the last song, Opioid Crisis, because it's just once again placing that mirror and saying, what side of this are you on? At the end of the day, we're all losing. But do you understand how hypocritical that is? To say one thing is because we're uncivilized, and the other part is you're a victim.
Right.
Wouldn't we all be victims, or are we all bad? But it's crazy that put a skin tone on it and it becomes a different perspective. And that's a sad case. Like in 2019 to be in America and still watching people try to blame Mexican people. I'm like, bro, there's no Mexicans.
Like they're not going to New Hampshire. Trust
They're not going to New Hampshire, bro. Yeah, and then and the irony is just now, like, I forgot what state it was. It might be New Hampshire. They just sued Big Farm. Finally, people are just now starting to go to jail. There's like a family that flooded this shit. Johnson & Johnson just lost like 587 billion. They lost a settlement. But yeah, because you should get them. They're the guys, because they're the ones that killed us. They killed the black kids, they killed the brown kids. Then you helped them kill us and put us in prison. Then you shot us when we were running, whatever. And now that the white kids are getting hurt, now you want to sue and make the people that should have been fucking sued in the first place, the real drug dealers. This dude's, petty drug dealers. Talking about, Big Farm is Rite Aid, Walgreens, Dwayne Reed, Heron in your mainstream. Those are the things I just felt like I have to one day, if I had the platform of some of my, more famous homies, I just say, I feel like I say things that need to be said. I say them really well. And one day, one way or another, I didn't come here to be in second place. I feel like my pen game is competitive, and I want to be respected for being the brilliant MC I am, and that's why I work hard to make sure that I'm saying things that other MCs are either unable or unwilling or not capable of doing, and and that's my legacy, and it's my 25 years. I felt like I didn't want to do another Nature the Threat, but white power needed to be said, and I felt like opioid crisis needed to be said, and I didn't want to do another Soul on Ice with Diamond D. I wanted to do Grammy speech. I wanted to do like content and concepts, and I did waltz. Like I feel great. Like I did 4/4 to 3/4 time, which is waltz in a hip hop record.
crazy,
No
yeah.
MC ever did it that I know of historically. It was great when Eric Sermon writes you, DMs you, and says, "Fucking fire."
Right. Yeah. Wow.
It's fucking insane. I'm like, thanks. And that's that. I want to inspire the way that I've been inspired by hip hop, and I hope one day I can get that platform so people can get inspired. Like I think a lot of the people that they say are inspiring rappers, a lot of them don't even write their own rap. So my job is I want to get my platform up so I can show like I said, rap Olympics every 4 years. Because I burned down, I just feel confident. I'm like, I didn't come here to be in second place. Anybody that does anything to be secondary is a moron. So I'm not here for second place. I have no animosity, but this is all competition. I came here to be first. And I believe I'll burn down your favorite rappers. I'll burn them. I will, because I better think that. I didn't come here to be in second place,
Right.
with all due respect.
If you think differently, you're going to lose. So.
Yeah, exactly. I came here to kill him. Yeah. And so I think that's what we did on this record, and I'm glad that it wasn't clickbait. It was just things that need to be said. I call myself the elephant whisperer. Like I do speak on the things that people don't want to talk about, but behind closed doors we do mention it. I'm like, fuck, tell the truth, shame the devil.
Right. Yeah, that Shark Week track is fucking fire.
Thank you, bro.
Or as we say back in the day, fresh.
Super fresh.
Super fresh, dope.
Thanks, dude.
Ras Kass, man, it's been an honor to.
Thanks,
appreciate your
man.
Time. So Nice 2 coming out
September 6th.
September 6th soon. Shit.
Yeah.
Second week of schools for New York City kids. So
Yes. I hope you guys support it, man. It's a really awesome album. Tim, thank you, man. Sorry that
No,
about,
perfect.
yesterday.
But it's thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much, bro.
Cool.
Appreciate you.